Liverpool were phenomenal in that second half. I hate to admit it, but they were immense. Mac Allister, Endo, Conor Bradley, he really got the tempo going. Underrated performance, Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Harvey Elliott, just to name a few. Liverpool were absolutely brilliant. They had so many players missing today that I was hoping they were finally going to drop some points. Like, I'm sitting here going, when are Liverpool going to drop points? No Szoboszlai, no Trent, no Thiago, no Matip, no Jota, no Jones, no Alisson, no Salah, no Nunes. That's not just having like 10 players out. That's having players that pretty much all of those players, bar one, would probably start if they were fit. They are playing the kids. They're still winning. They're playing without half of their starting 11. They're still winning. They're 1-0 down to a difficult Luton side that have made games really difficult for their opposition. They are still winning. At half-time, they turn it around. They are relentless. They are mentality monsters. And I sit here going, there's no way this team doesn't win the league at this rate. I mean, what is going to stop them? Injuries aren't stopping them. This player being out, that player out's not stopping them. Going 1-0 down's not stopping them. The fight, the desire, the mentality monsters they have, I'm so jealous of. As a Man United fan, I want to see that fight and desire to come out in the second half and obliterate sides with so many key players injured. You have to give Jurgen Klopp, first of all, before I want to talk about Mac Allister's amazing performance. I thought Mac Allister was man of the match, by the way. But you have to give Jurgen Klopp credit. You know, Mac Allister and Endo cost 50 million combined, or 52 million pound combined. And that looks like a 200 million midfield, what, you know, Caicedo and Enzo was meant to be. I mean, Mac Allister and Endo today were phenomenal. Jurgen Klopp is playing with the kids. He's playing with signings that cost 16 million pounds. And he is top of the league, competing with Manchester City and Arsenal. And you've got to remember, Liverpool last season didn't qualify for the Champions League. Liverpool had a poor season last season. They don't have the funds that City have, or the players available that City do, yet they're top of the league. Like, I thought Liverpool would get top 4 this season. I didn't think they'd be in a title race, but the fact they're in a title race with so many key players out, you know, above Manchester City and deservedly there, you've got to give Klopp the credit, you've got to give the players the credit. And I have to admit it, I can't stand it. I saw the injury list and I thought, you know what, Luton could do something today. I said, you can't rule them out because this side is relentless. But I thought, maybe Luton are going to do something. Maybe they're finally going to drop some points. Maybe this could be the turning point, because they've had a few players out and they've got away with it. But they had so many players out today, as I showed you guys. And I want to get something up. Like, all these players, bar 1 or 2, weren't there. Jota was a massive miss because I think they weren't very clinical. Right? The mad thing is, Liverpool could have won that game 7-8-1 with how clinical they were. If Jota and Salah were there, they probably would have put few away. Nunes, Jota, Salah, probably their best front three. Curtis Jones has been unbelievable this season. If Thiago can stay fit, he starts. Szoboszlai's been unreal for them. Alisson obviously starts. Matip, you could argue, starts as good as Kwanzaa and Konate's been. Like, that was how many key players out. But what I want to talk about is Mac Allister. Mac Allister in this sort of more advanced role. Mac Allister in this 8 role and how good he has been. I think he's played 3 games now with this more advanced role since Endo's come back, and he's been unbelievable. We got 2 assists today, 37 out of 43 accurate passes, 4 chances created, 1 big chance created, completed 2 out of 2 dribbles, 3 crosses, 1 accurate long ball, 2 interceptions, 3 recoveries, and 6 out of 12 duels won. But we've seen Alexis Mac Allister put absolute shifts in that 6 role. He is not a natural 6, but he's put absolute shifts in that 6 role. He's done an absolute job. He's put Caicedo to shame. He really has. And now he's playing in his natural role, and he's been absolutely brilliant. I thought he was man of the match today. I'm going to talk about Endo. I did a video on Endo talking about what Endo brings. But Endo allows Mac Allister to push further up in his natural role. And since being in his natural role, 1 goal, 2 assists in the last 2 games, what Mac Allister does is he breaks the lines. He has the ability to play the ball through the lines. He can volley the ball. We can cross the ball. We can play it through. But he creates. He got 2 assists today, but he got Liverpool ticking. He got the game moving, because while Liverpool weren't the best in the first half, they were creating chances. They weren't being clinical. And it felt that Endo was there to be the warrior at the back, protect the back. And Endo was also pushing really high up. And Liverpool were pushing Luton really high up the pitch. And Endo was winning those second and first balls and then playing it on quick to Mac Allister, who could make those line-breaking passes to single-handedly create a chance or get an assist or pre-assist in a sense of pre-chance created. And I felt like Mac Allister, when he was up the pitch with Endo and they were pushing Luton back, was really turning the game around, because I felt Mac Allister took control of the game. Every time Mac Allister had the ball, he almost set the ball when he was like, we're going to play it my way. Do you get what I'm saying? He's going to play it my way. And I think you've got to give him credit for how good he's been as a 6. But as an 8, he was phenomenal. Since Endo's returned, he has been brilliant. You could argue he's signing of the season. You could argue Endo's signing of the season because of how little they cost, but his ability to break lines, his ability to just do work off the ball, him and Endo cover so much ground is unbelievable. And I've got to give Endo props. I've done a video on Endo and how good that he's been. But Endo, Mac Allister, Dominic Szoboszlai, they signed four midfielders, and of course Gravenberch, who's been okay. But they've signed Mac Allister, Endo, and Dominic Szoboszlai this season. Liverpool did this complete new midfield rebuild. I thought Liverpool's midfield rebuild, it's good. It's a good midfield rebuild, but it's going to take time to gel. They're going to have to get time to start playing with each other. Liverpool now have three insanely good midfielders. The depth that they have with Thiago and Gravenberch, who would be on the bench, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott can play midfield, and I think he was really, really good for Liverpool today. You've got to give it credit. They've got £100 million DM playing that cost 16, 17, 18 million pound playing for them today. Endo looked like 100 million DM. When Endo plays, I said this in my video the other day, I felt like the whole Liverpool squad looks better when Endo plays. I feel like Endo brings that energy that almost Wijnaldum used to bring to Liverpool, that energy, the legs. He covers so much ground. He puts in such a shift, and his ability to cover so much ground, push the team forward and press the opposition means that the players around him, particularly in midfield, particularly Mac Allister, will play better because Endo is there to do the work off the ball that might not get noticed. Some of the casuals that watch football might not notice the work Endo does off the ball, the ground he covers, the way he cuts out the passing lanes, his off the ball movement. But what Endo brings is the ability to really push Luton back. Endo as a DM was getting so far forward. He wins headers, he wins duels. He's like a samurai. And when he wins the ball, he plays it forward quickly. He wins the ball back. He plays the ball forward quickly so Liverpool can transition. When Liverpool transition, they're at their dead list. They create more chances. And Liverpool created a lot of chances today. And Endo, particularly in that second half, is getting the ball moving, winning it in the transition. You know, played it into Gakpo, and I think Gakpo should have scored. He should have got an assist. And then he allows Mac Allister to go further up and break the lines. And those two players were immense to Liverpool today. I think, you know, Conor Bradley was excellent. And one thing I noticed with Conor Bradley is I felt that he increased the tempo of the game. I think Conor Bradley's so direct. And this is why I like Conor Bradley as a player. Even as a Man United fan, there's players from rivals that I look at and say, I like you as a player because I like the way you play. Conor Bradley is intent to attack. To be so young, he could be playing the safe pass. He could be playing the ball back. He could be getting nervous. Oh, we're 1-0 down. The pressure's on. Big players are injured. You know, this is the title. And I have to say, Anfield, wow, that was loud. I think Anfield was like the 12th man for Liverpool today, and that probably pushed them on as well. But Conor Bradley's tempo at the start of the second half, he just runs at them. He's quick, he's intelligent. He can do those quick 1-2 passes. He makes those intelligent passes. He link up play. He's defensively intelligent as well, knows when to push forward, but knows when to be back. He even picks up central errors. He knows when to go wide and overlap. He knows when to do it all. But what I see with Conor Bradley, because he's direct, because he's intense, because he likes to push forward with such energy, that pushed Liverpool forward. I felt like that lifted the tempo for Liverpool. They were moving the ball quicker. The energy was moving quicker. And I thought that it made Liverpool better. And you look at Liverpool and you think Conor Bradley and Kwanzaa, two young players, neither of them were looked out of place. They've got Bradley and Kwanzaa playing. This is a massive stage. You've got to remember this. This is a massive stage. This is Liverpool in the title race. They have to win every game. It's a must win every game. And you've got Bradley and you've got Kwanzaa. And they are starting for Liverpool at such a young age with so little experience. Well, they have experience on their loans and stuff in such big games, and they didn't look out of place. They did a phenomenal job. They are part of that title winning team at such a young age. And you think, well, they could be developed into even better players. And you've got to give them credit because that win for Liverpool was massive. To go 1-0 down, to have all those players out, that could have been the beginning of the end for Liverpool. They could have switched off and went, you know what, we've got so many players missing. This is the beginning of the end. But they stepped up. I haven't even spoke about Harvey Elliott yet. Mac Allister, for me, was man of the match. Conor Bradley showed it. You know, Kwanzaa was good. Van Dijk was an absolute beast. Endo has been phenomenal and maybe the most underrated player in the league because a lot of what Endo does right now is off the ball work, which makes the players around him better. And I thought the relentlessness that they showed, especially from, you know, players that maybe wouldn't be in Liverpool's lineup if everyone was fit, how they can fill in and do a job. And you've got to give Klopp credit for getting the best out of every single player. And the last player I want to talk about is Harvey Elliott. I think he's a player that gets a lot of stick, but I thought that he was very good today. I think he's been very good when he's come off the bench. I think some of the games he started, he hasn't been as good as he's come off the bench, but today I thought he was brilliant. And as you can see, a 9.0 rating on FootMob, but you've got to look at 7 chances created. 7 chances created. I think that's the most in a Premier League game this season, or second most after like Bruno, who got 8. He was everywhere today. And the thing about Harvey Elliott is he's so young. He can play central, he can play wide. He's come off the bench for Liverpool and he's made a difference. Harvey Elliott has the ability, and I think in terms of IQ and I think in terms of creative mind, what Harvey Elliott has is very special in terms of he's an intellectual player. I get some Liverpool fans can be frustrated with him at times, but I think in terms of his IQ, when you're playing against a low block, there's no guy that's probably better for you to bring on than Harvey Elliott in his sense of his ability to play those quick balls in between the lines, his ability to make space for himself, his ability to move and make space for others, his ability and all-round play. I think that Harvey Elliott is a very, very underrated player, to be honest. And there's a statistic, if I can find it for you guys here and get it on the screen, which just shows, you know how good this is for him. But he's the first player this season to record 7+ matches and score in the same game. And I think he deserved the goal today. I think Diaz deserved the goal today. I think that Liverpool in that second half were relentless. And I think in the first half, they weren't awful, but it felt wasteful. It felt wasteful. But the way they came out in the second half, and I think the fans were a big part of that Anfield as well, was immense. And I just want to give Endo prop because I don't want to make this video too long. Do go check out my analysis on why Endo has been amazing for Liverpool this season. He gets best at Mac Allister, and I thought he was fantastic. I don't like praising Liverpool, but I like to be honest. I like to admit that, look, this team is good. This team has had so many players out. The fact that they're winning like this, it's like this team is fighting to the end. This team's its warriors, and this team's going to win. And it worries me. It does